Today on the Stage Presence Mastery series, we're looking at the Tiny Desk Concert Series. This is the legendary series, you know it, and we're breaking down moments from performances from well-known artists that have taken part in the Tiny Desk. I'm Luther Mallory, a performance coach for the last 11 years or so, and I'm obsessed with this thing, performance, stage presence, and show design. Let's see what we can learn from these artists. Sub to the channel if you haven't yet. Let's get started. So this is mega pro level in terms of focus. We talk about focus, internal and external focus all the time. Often on Tiny Desk, we're seeing the internal focus thing because it feels like a smaller show, so people kind of come back here and perform their song from back here. It becomes this kind of lyrical thing. Here we have Justin Timberlake, so much in the external that it's seamless with conversation. And that's the vibe of the tune. It's like playful, but look at everybody here is in this external place, not back in their bubble, not back in their head, but in the conversational place. And by the way, that's where the audience is, in the environment. That's where he is right now. Look at this. See? You can be playful from that place. So you could see right now, the test is, if he started just talking right now, it would be the same as him singing. You could see that. That's the external, and that's where the audience is waiting, and that's a very cool place to be. No better than the internal, of course. Here you go, see.
I wanna try some right now. All the fellas in the house started off with me, we go. It feels like I'm busy enough. Can I leave with you? And the ladies say,
But the reason there's so much leadership with him and that it's so playful is because of his choice about focus, the external focus. He's in the environment and with the audience right now in the external focus. So he can be responsive and reactive to the audience and to the people because he's there. He's not in his head going, I just got to measure everything, I'll be right with you kind of thing. Look at, he's in the space. See, the compulsion that artists have that keeps them out of the external and in the controlled middle, as we call it, is the need to measure, the need to go, oh yeah, but I got to fix the pitch, I got to make sure the rhythm is right, the pitch is right, I got to judge all of these things. But he's such a pro and so experienced, of course, that he's available to the external. He doesn't have anything to do back there. So he just comes out here, he puts the singing on autopilot, and he spends time with us. And that's why it's so playful.
And I'm definitely not nervous now that they're there.
So you're talking about being nervous, right? And you'd hear that all the time too. You get some A&R person going, don't talk about how you're nervous. Don't let them know. Don't let them... You can. It doesn't matter. It's actually quite human. So the banter thing, again for the 97th time in this series already even, banter doesn't matter. Your confidence behind it is the only thing that matters. It doesn't matter what you say.
and she left me with a broken heart.
So here we have the opposite of the Justin Timberlake thing, right? External focus, his whole show pretty much was external focus. Now we got Post Malone during I Fall Apart, internally focused, meaning focused on his thoughts and feelings. Look at him back there, he disappears. It's the monologue now. The audience goes, where'd you go? And he goes, I'm doing shit in my head now. In my feelings in my head now. And they go, great. So then they match the energy. Now they're just vibing watching him like this, right? The audience gives you what you give them, right?
And down to my core.
So the question would be, what is he doing back there? Because there's a difference between the internal focus and the controlled middle. The controlled middle is when you're measuring and judging. The internal is when you're focused on thoughts and feelings that are deliberate and give you some positive reaction. Now you'd have to ask him, but it seems like he's pretty comfy. Seems like he's in his head or in his feelings in some way that is positive. And you can tell the controlled middle because it doesn't look relaxed. It looks stressed out.
Everybody told me so. Feeling like I sold my soul.
One thing that people really like about Post Malone is the imperfection in all of it, right? He's got that shaky vibrato thing and he's missing notes all the time and he doesn't feel like a polished technical singer. And that's nice. And that should actually relax us as well about being incredibly perfectly skilled. Sometimes expression is greater than technique, and in Post Malone's case, I would say that's the case. Expression is a little bit punk rock in that sense. Expression beats technique.
And I just wanna ball, maybe dunk, but I've never been tall. Yeah, I might trip, I never fall.
So what's awesome about this, right, the Tiny Desk series, is you get to see artists that don't have the big show budgets and the big show props and everything to rely on. So they're relying on the voice, the instrument, the focus, and the energy. And so here we have Mac Miller, R.I.P. Mac Miller, who has this rare and amazing ability to be connected to the words. So we have internal focus and external focus. And let's say the internal focus that has to do with thoughts and feelings and focusing on your thoughts and feelings. You can anchor to those, right? And he is anchored to the words. So as a vocalist, if you're a vocalist, let's say, often you're anchored to thought about how it's going. How does that sound? How's the pitch? All of that kind of thing. And so you're sort of obsessed with the sound of the voice. And then somewhere underneath that is the content and the words that you're singing, right? Well, you have Mac Miller here. And by the way, this is a very common quality for superstars, majorly famous people, because they're so focused on the words that we go, oh, I really get the words. Why? Because he's focused on the words. That's why.
You can love it, you can leave it. They're singing nothing without it. Yeah, don't let them keep you down.
That's why we do it. Look at that. That's why we do it on the stage. Look at the joy that is about to happen here between these two. And it's so joyful that it's 6 seconds after that they're still giggling about it. Look at how fun this is.
Close. I don't understand why you're doing the most. You can love it, you can leave it. They're singing nothing without it. Yeah, don't let them.
Look at how delightful that is. Look at the bass player still so pumped about that. And look at it connected them, and they're both kind of still like out with each other. Look at the bass player now. He's still, because of that connection they made, it just pumped him up. He's 40% more energized now too.
What's the use, yeah? Never superficial, you gon'.
Like this guy too. Look at this keyboard player. So the question is, like, see, most players are in the internal focus a lot of the time because they don't have the job of entertaining. It's not the music is made and then it goes through the face of the singer often out into the audience, right? Well, so everybody's making the music has their own process, often internal process of feeling it. How do you feel it? Where do you go to feel it? And you could ask any one of these people what they do, but that keyboard player, look at this guy. Internal, deeply focused. What's he doing? There's a good chance he's listening to the bass and the drums or something like that, but he's got his own internal process. And that's the question. How do you feel it? What do you want to do? Internal, external, whatever you like, but how do you feel it and stay out of overthinking and obsessive judgment and into feeling it? What do you do? What do you anchor to would be the question we would ask.
Hey, you drink up all my liquor, come on, what I'm supposed to do now? And you talking all that shit, come on, you gon' have to back it up.
So we're talking about focus all day here. This guy, Anderson Paak, is playing drums like a drummer, because he's a drummer, but not missing anything, just dead on like it's his only task. He's also singing, and singing so presently that he's having fun with it, and it's actually over top of the drums. Usually you'd see a drummer singing, and the singing would be sort of like way down here and not very present because they're so busy focused on the drums. This guy is so good at his skills that he can put a few things on autopilot. And then on top of that, he's got the drums on autopilot, and then he autopilots the vocal too, and he comes into the world. Look at into the external place, and he's having fun too in the environment. Most of the time, there'd be too much to do, and somebody would go like, no, I can't be out here. I got lots to do. Just excuse me. Look at this guy. Look at in the environment.
You gon' have to back it up. You gon' have to back it up. Get to
See, he's playing with it. You can't do that from the controlled middle and overthinking. Look at, he's looking at the people in the band. That's unbelievable. You have to be very, very skilled and talented to be able to do this many things on autopilot and still have energy to be playful.
One keeps driving me insane. At times I wonder if they ain't both the same. One's a liar.
So see how Chris Stapleton, he doesn't really include the audience ever in this whole show, actually. And typically, I think that's the case. Well, if you're 99th percentile skilled and talented at your instruments, and it's this guy's voice that everybody knows is legendary, right? And I've heard that he doesn't even warm up, so this is like talent driven and skill on top of that. But you can be this internal and disappear from the audience and go, this is going to be a monologue and you guys get to watch more comfortably if you're wildly skilled and talented, because people will sit there and go, yeah, I just want to hear you sing. I just got to hear this mesmerizing, rare thing that nobody can do. And so you don't even need to include the audience if you don't want to, and he doesn't. So easier if you're insanely skilled to not make it conversational. He gets the benefit of this mystique thing too. So just like the Justin Timberlake show, the external focus at the degree that it becomes perfectly conversational. Look at these people. Right out in the space, no veil of performance whatsoever. It's all right here. Look at how conversation. She's playing around and she's making direct eye contact with people. You can see. Right? So from that place, how easy is it to react and respond to an audience and be playful and conversational? Yeah, because you're actually seeing people and it's not, excuse me, I have to perform, I'll be right back. Look at, right in the space. Leaning on the desk, being playful. That's stage presence, right? She's so willing to be unpredictable and interesting and right into the eyeballs of people. So how could you not watch this? This is leadership.
On the crazy roller coaster that is taking the Bangas of sound and rhythm and love and light, expression, and things that make you feel whole. And one day I woke up last week and I said to myself, man, I just one tiny dance. Oh, man, I can't believe I just one tiny dance. Oh my God, I did it with big hair and a tiny...
See? That's external focus. She just went from her banter into singing, and it was seamless. So she didn't, in other words, go, I'm talking, now I'm about to go singing, so excuse me, I've got to go measure everything now, and drop the veil of performance and disappear from the audience. So seamless in the external that talking is the same as singing.
Tiny dance, I want tiny dance. Oh my gosh, I just want tiny dance.
Look at the theater. Look at the theater. Just changes the vibe totally into this serious thing. Look at, she's got a plan. That's what's so fun. Whatever the plan is, she's got one. And it's cryptic to us, but she's doing something in her head. And she knows what it is. Like, see this looking around that you go, what is that? That's stage presence. Because you go, what is she doing? And we don't get to know, but she's doing something. It's intentional, right? It's the same as Matt Healy from the 1975, the last Mastery Series video that was out. There's lots of intention going on up in her head. See, where's she? Right? In the external focus. So see, if you take away the pyro and all of the big set design and stuff, and you put an artist in the tiny desk, what you've got to work with is focus and dynamic. And we get to see all of these artists swinging in between the internal and the external focus, and you get to see masterful conversational space performances. Like this artist here, playful, and responsive in the external focus, looking at people. Look at, she's looking at actual people, right? It's not the I look at people's foreheads. It's not the I look to the back of the room into the sky and that makes people think I'm looking at them. What's it like if you look at them? What's it like if you actually look? They wouldn't even have to think you're looking at them. You just would be looking at them. So Tash Sultana is performing in the corner that we call internal big, internal focus. Look at, nobody's part of it, right? It's a monologue, yet they are at the peak physical and intense energy, right? This looks like, it makes people go, how do you get to that level of energy by yourself? And it's so intriguing. It creates so much stage presence because they are finding this all by themselves. That's intriguing to us because we love courage. And this artist is showing courage. But look at how much energy, right? And so think about this principle of, imagine you could expend so much physical energy, you could try so hard on stage that you could forget to judge yourself because you're too busy kicking ass. That's what's happening here. Think about that. You could do that. Try so hard that you can't judge yourself because you're too busy kicking ass. Another amazing thing about Tash Sultana here is lengthening things, right? This idea that you could lengthen things. We get 15 seconds into a part of ours and we go, oh, this is overbearing. The audience is going to get bored. I need to move along. I need to go. No, you don't. What's the vision? So this artist loves this idea of these long pieces where they build and they build, right? And then there's room for lots of dynamic range, and that's the mission. So that's what they do. And so this idea of stretching parts is amazingly powerful because it takes the audience on a ride. It also gives the audience a break. They get to go, oh, great, you're gonna do that for a bit, let me just vibe out back here. Oh, now you're gonna hype us? Okay, great. You don't have to hit them with everything all the time. The audience needs a break too. The way that you measure that Justin Timberlake or Tank external process, right, is when the external is so external, your focus is so external that it's seamless with conversation. Now your singing is seamless with regular conversation. We've seen that. Well, now we have Tash Sultana, so deeply internal. And what is the measurement for being totally, totally internal? You can forget the audience exists completely when you're in the internal so deeply. And this artist is willing to let go and be energized and everything because so deep is this artist into the internal that I guarantee if you ask, they would say, yeah, the audience disappears all the time for me. Like constantly they're disappearing completely and I just do my thing and then come back. And that's amazing. And that's against, by the way, that compulsion that we have, or some manager or an A&R person or something that says, you know, you got to make eye contact with the audience. You got to engage the audience. No, you don't. No, you don't. Look at Tash Sultana. No, you don't have to do that. That's a good tool. You might do that, but you don't have to. And if you know your mission and your vision, like Tash Sultana does, you certainly don't have to. If I'm a performance coach, I'm going to coach Tash and go, you should be looking at the audience. And they're going to go, I got it, man. I'm good. I'm fine. Great banter moment. Look at this.
Stuck in a cave because I went wandering. And yeah, thanks for listening.
Not very comfy with the banter, right? And then look at, sits down and picks up the guitar, eyes closed immediately, disappears into the music. Look how focused already, right? So this is an artist where you don't bother this artist. You don't bother this artist and go, hey, look, we got to nail this banter. We've got to get this audience engagement shit happening. No, you don't. What you do is you look at the superpower of this artist, which is their own internal process and the finding of energy and the seeking of energy within, and you go, do that. Always do that. None of the rest of it matters. You don't have to force all of this other shit. No, look at the strength here. So I love the Tiny Desk series because it gets rid of the pyro, and it says to the artists that show up there, let's see what you got when it's focused and dynamic. And most fascinating to me throughout this whole process today, this video today, has been we have seen examples on the far ends of focus. We have Justin Timberlake and Tank from Tank and the Bangas on the far side of externally focused with the audience in the conversational place, and that's where they find their power. They connect that way. Then we've seen Tash Sultana that doesn't even really want to do the banter and just wants to disappear into the internal, and that's where they find their power. And both are excellent, right? So you're just looking for where do you find your power. So a good question for you going forward is, are you internal or external as a default focus position when you're in performance? Which do you like? And a better question than that is, where do you get your power? And so go there and get your power, and then use the other side as a tool if you want. Make suggestions, please, if you've made it this far, about who to cover next. I'm looking for ideas. I love this series. Thank you so much for being here. Definitely comment and reach out in DMs if you can, if you made it this far. I want to hear from you. I want to know what you think of the series. I want to hear your art. Send me some of your art, definitely. Thanks for being here.